Hello and welcome back in my reading corner. Thank you so much for joining me again for another TBR. I'm finally back with my TBRs. So today all in natural lighting. I hope this is enough. I know there's a little bit of a shade on this side, but I am in a little bit of a rush. I do want to share my August TBR that also includes the Readorama and the Magical Readathon TBR. And I spontaneously have to go on a business trip again. I'm leaving in an hour and I know I won't be back in time to film this, so I just quickly wanted to share this with you before I leave. So apologize the half-assed setup. Also, I am going to be posting a few old unboxings this week. I found a few that I didn't upload yet. And then hopefully by next week we will have the 2019 unboxings that were in my backlog that I was trying with a little bit of a different format. And that was a little bit of a difficult way to get to the correct editing. For those of you who don't know, I am working with an editor who helps me when I'm traveling a lot, and this year has been crazy. Out of like the 4 weeks in June, I was only 1 week at home, and that was full-time working as well, so I had to catch up on the other 3 weeks that I was traveling for business. So I had in May and June, I think I had really bad reading months as well. Therefore no time for editing either. So yeah, I hope that we're going to catch up and that I am going to be back rather recent. I'm never going to be completely recent with my unboxings because I am living in Germany and the boxes have to travel a little bit longer to get to me, and I often get these boxes after the first unboxings have been uploaded to other channels. So I'm hoping to provide like information with my unboxings that you don't get it at other channels, so that it's still worth it to watch my unboxings. All right, but we wanted to share the TBR and apologize. I have to apologize. I have to look at my screen because, as I said, I'm a little bit in a rush and I didn't prepare as well for this as I could have. My TBR is always grouped into 4 to 5 groups. The first one is group reads, read-alongs, etc. that I'm doing this month. And the first one is Booksplosion. And in the back you can see my beautiful TBR already. And for this I'm going to be reading Looking for Alaska by John Green. I'm just going to run through these because most of them you probably already know. For the read, rate, review hosted by Book Roast, I'm going to be reading The Sorcery of Thorns. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to all of the books, so what am I saying? Then I am probably not going to be taking part in the Once Upon a Read-Along this month because they're reading Dance of Thieves and I do want to read the Remnant Chronicles first, so I'm not going to get there. Same goes for the Junkie Book Club, who is reading God's Grave, which I read last month. So another group read that I'm going to be reading is Hold Still, and I'm going to be listening to that on audio because I don't want to buy this. I really don't want to buy books for readathons, readalongs, etc. because I have like over 300 books physically here on my shelf that I haven't read. So unless I can get it on a script or Kindle Unlimited or something, I'm probably not going to be reading it. And yeah, I'm getting all these boxes. I'm getting like approximately 8 books a month anyways, and I do continue to buy books. So anyways, that's not the topic today. Come on, get it together. So for the Readorama group book, I'm going to be reading Hold Still via audiobook. The next category is buddy reads, and for buddy reads I am reading 2 books with Elisa, and then I have 2 traveling books. The first book that I'm going to be reading with Elisa is A Darker Shade of Magic. We really need to get into V.E. Schwab's books. We have a feeling that we're going to love them, and we've been putting it off, and I have been reading so much with Elisa, and it's so much fun. I love buddy reads. So if you ever see a book on my TBR for the month that I'm planning on reading and you're reading it that month as well, reach out to me. I am happy to do a buddy read. And the other book we're going to be reading is Rin and Rising. We've been reading the Grisha trilogy together and we're finally getting to the end. Yes. The other 2 are traveling books, and I'm going to be showing that to you. So this is My shelf is falling apart. So the first one is 1,000 Pieces of You, and the traveling book. We have a list of people who have already read it, and they have annotated the book. Let's see if I can show you a page. What that looks like. I mean, it's just a few annotations here and there. If you can see this, and I'm going to be reading it, putting my annotations in and sending it along to the next person. So this is how this works, and I do consider these buddy reads. So I'm going to be reading 1,000 Pieces of You and The Upside of Unrequited as a traveling book. Then I have two arcs from NetGalley that I want to read, and the first one is Wake, and the second one is Erbe der Macht. I will be summarizing them in my wrap-ups, so I apologize for not being able to tell you much about them yet. I do want to go into them rather not knowing most of what's happening, so I don't read the summary, so I can't summarize them for you right now. And then I have been sent Der Königsfall by a random house in Germany to read and review, and so this is one of my arcs as well that I have to get to this month. And then I have my 2019 goals, and some of them double up with the previous challenges that I had. I just want to make sure in my 2019 goals, if you're new to my channel, so I have set these goals to make sure that I spread my reading across things that I want to get to, but that I don't necessarily gravitate towards right away. So I tend to gravitate towards the same kind of books, which is like The Sorcery of Thorns or The Ruin and Rising, and I kind of leave a few books behind that have been on my shelf for years, and I do want to get to them, so I created these challenges to kind of I want to say diversify, but I don't really have diverse prompts on here, so it's more of a like how long things have been on my shelf kind of thing. So the first one is pick the oldest on my wish list out of the top 10 or delete 10, or and this is one of my newer prompts. So I have on Goodreads my August shelf where I put all the books on that I'm reading in August, and I'm leaving that there. So this I started in July last year or in August last year. And this year I'm coming back to the shelves that have been populated by from last year, and I go through them and I see like, okay, what have I actually read within the year? Because last year I was really bad with finishing my TBRs, not because I wasn't sticking to the plan. It was rather because my plans were way too ambitious and I knew I couldn't achieve them, and often I didn't even achieve like 50% of my TBR. So I had like half of the books that I had on my TBR stayed on the TBR unread. So I made it a new rule in July that I have to take all the books that are still unread on my TBR from last year and either read them this month or unhaul them. And for the oldest wish list, I had one that I had on my TBR but I hadn't even purchased. So I think that was for read along as well. And I didn't get to it, so I didn't borrow it from like Kindle Unlimited. So I picked it for this prompt, and that is I Let You Go, and I will be listening to that on audiobook as well. So again, I'm not going to be purchasing it, otherwise I would have unhauled the book that I have never hauled. The same goes for oldest TBR. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put it on. 1 second. So let's find a nice place for this. This is already quite... I'll just have to put it on top, I guess. The Shadow Queen. I was really looking forward to that book last year. I remember picking it and being really excited about it and not getting to it. It was so frustrating. And this year it's like always on my TBR. The prompt is something that I had on my TBR last year or on my to be read on Goodreads. I filter for, I sort by date when I have added it and pick one of the top 10 that have been on my shelf the longest. And Yeah, this month, The Shadow Queen, because I had that left from last year's TBR. And then I'm picking one new release. I'm doubling that up with Sorcery of Thorns. I have to pick an old release, so one of the top 10 oldest released books that I have on my shelf. And for that, I'm going to be reading Picnic at Hanging Rock. It's a classic. It's not really my usual comfort zone read, so this will be exciting. I really have to get to this, or I have to unhaul it. Then a book with the one of the highest ratings on my shelf. For this, I'm going to be reading Clockwork Princess. A low rating. Oh my god, I didn't put that on either. What is going on? Of course it was in the last place that I was looking for it. So I'm struggling. Where can we put this? Alright, so lowest rating, Never Contented Things. Just got that recently in a book box, and I'm a little bit torn because coming in a book box and having one of the lower ratings on my Goodreads TBR shelf is a little bit unsettling, because usually I am counting on the book boxes to really pick books that get good ratings. So let's see how that goes. We're almost through. The next prompt I'm doing is one of the most reviewed books that I own, and I am taking for this one, I'm doubling up with Looking for Alaska. Then a non-YA book. I just have to make sure that one of the books on my TBR is a non-YA, and taking the Picnic of Hanging Rock for that. Then a non-fantasy, because as you might see, I read a lot of fantasy, so I want to make sure that at least one book I read a month is a non-fantasy. For that, I'm hoping to doubling up with The Upside of Unrequited. And then I want to continue in a series, and if I have any more that I have to read for like things like they have been on last year's August TBR. And for this, I am reading The Clockwork Prince and City of Heavenly Fire. So I'm trying to read a total of 6,484 pages, and that comes to 202 pages a day. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting. So let me quickly share with you what I have picked for the nudes for the Magical Readathon. So I am going to try to become a ministry worker. I have to find the full title and put it on the screen. But for this, I need to do charms, achieving charms, a gorgeous cover. For this, I'm picking 1,000 Pieces of You because gorgeous. Then for Defense Against the Dark Arts, achieved a something that's black under the dust jacket. For this, I'm taking Looking for Alaska. Potions achieved, I have to read my friend's favorite book, and for this I'm picking A Darker Shade of Magic. A lot of people love this book, but also it is a buddy read, and I always, when I have a prompt like a friend's favorite or a friend's recommendation, I do like to pick a buddy reads for these prompts, because they feel like they cover these prompts in a way for me. Then History of Magic achieved a fantasy. I'm going to do Shadow Queen for that. I believe last year's Shadow Queen was a prompt for the Magical Readathon as well. So this time it has to work. Then for History of Magic, what is E? Exceed? I don't know what the E stands for anymore. It has to include a map, and for this I'm taking a Sorcery of Thorns. And then we have History of Magic Outstanding, and for that read a favorite or read a classic. So for this one I'm picking Picnic at Hanging Rock, and for Muggle Studies, cover includes an actual photograph. I'm taking Clockwork Prince. This is my Magical Readathon, and then I'm also taking part in the Readorama. And for that, I am reading an Own Voices. For this, I'm choosing The Upside of Unrequited. For a favorite color on the cover, I'm taking Looking for Alaska, because I love myself some gold and glitter. Glitter is my favorite color. I know. Glitter is a color, all right? So Then I'm reading a standalone, The Upside of Unrequited. I'm doubling up on that one. Then the favorite genre, I'm reading Wake. That is one of the arcs. With Rama in the title author, I'm reading A Darker Shade of Magic and a non-traditional format. So I understand this means like audiobook or ebook or graphic novel or something. For this, I'm doing the Hold Still, which is also the host book. Then a book from my TBR. All of this is from my TBR, so I'm doubling up on A Darker Shade of Magic. Last but not least, a book from a blacklist. I believe Looking for Alaska is banned in a couple of schools, so taking that one. All right, this is my plan for August. It's going to be a tough one because I do work full-time again. I don't have time off, and but I have been doing amazing in July, and I'm really hoping to do that again in August. So fingers are crossed that I can actually achieve this. I can do 200 pages a day, right? That's doable, right? Anyways, this is it for today. During the next couple of days, as I said, I will be posting the old unboxings. I'll just put them up, I don't know, they're old, but they've been filmed, they've been edited. I just want them up on my channel. And then hopefully by next week I can upload some of the newer formats, and I'm so excited to share this with you. I hope this makes sense to you and I can develop this further into something that brings you more than other channels already do, because as I said, I'm always late because I live in Germany, so I need to do something special, and I want to give you more information than others do. So yeah, this is it for today. I hope you have a great start into the readathons that you're doing this month. I hope you have an exciting TBR yourself. I'll be checking out some of the TBRs for all the readathons that I'm doing for August. Always so excited to see what you guys are reading. And again, if you have anything on your TBR that I have on my TBR as well, do reach out to me. I'm happy to buddy read something with you guys. I love buddy reading, so I would love to do that. All right, this is it. I have to run. I have to do another call and then jump onto the train, and I still haven't packed.